to No Church Church. Today we're going to be talking about a portion of Dana Coverstone's dream where he was saying that the ports were idle. Nothing was coming into ports because something stuck out to me from a letter that a friend of mine sent to me about the U.S. importing steel from China. He was basically saying because of the high tariffs that China was not sending their metal products to the United States. But if we watch the news, we could see that China is taking in the iron ore from Africa. 70% of the global supply. Next article, Australia's iron ore. China imports a staggering 62% of Australia's iron ore, more than double the 21% that it imported from Brazil in 2019. Here's another country that China's buying from, India. China imports the highest level of iron ore in 8 years from India. And China's brilliant at this. Buy all the supply in the world, and that will make the demand go up, which is frustrating for United States companies because now they have to figure out what to do for their metal industry, U.S. Steel. And this is a memo from a $50 million a year metal company highlighting what SMU newsletter about the steel industry said. It basically started out, U.S. Steel is not going to be able to make any new blast furnaces, meaning there's no way to increase their productivity from the current blast furnaces that they have to make metal. The earliest would be December, and then you've got to build it. He goes on to say that Nucor and SDI are already at full capacity. They cannot make any more metal products. And here's something that also Dana said, that several mills will have outages this quarter. We are facing domestic shortages of steel. Here they were talking about how they were financially hamstrung because of the transition that they're having with Cliffs in December. One company bought over the other company, so they can't even really produce what they want to produce because they don't have the financial ability because it's no longer their company, which basically is going to result in low inventories for this company. So basically you have one U.S. manufacturer buying out another U.S. manufacturer, and because of the transition, it's going to quantify in magnitude how short the market is. And here he actually breaks down the exact numbers of how the market is short, and of all that equates to the supply decreased by 900 KTs per week. He goes on to say that even if steel demand was down in the fourth quarter by 20%, which it's not, U.S. Steel would still be short 400 KTs per week, which he refers to mind-boggling. Somebody in the industry is saying, holy moly, this is mind-boggling that we would not have enough metal to even meet the needs of our current economy. He even points out by Halloween, future production would create less than what they have today. He says by Thanksgiving, they will have a full-out supply chain problem. Where have you heard that before? He talked about how this is even different than the demand that happened with lumber just a couple months, shooting it up almost 220%. Could you say ka-ching is about here for the metal industry? Supply and demand. He does talk about how they're reduced of imports from Europe and Brazil. Back to those first articles about China, the import supply chain is empty. Nobody is willing to stick out their neck because of the tariff uncertainty. The cavalry is not coming. Prices are about to go up. He says currently no steel import cargoes are coming. Nothing is headed our way on the water. Even if you were to order today, it would take 3 months to arrive. They highlight the trade war between China and say even if there is a new president who removes the tariffs, this would not happen until February at the earliest. This is going to be a 6-month to a year situation. I have not seen anything like this in 30 years. I do not know how this movie ends. I cannot point to a historical precedent that shows this example that's going on right now. From that news article, we're going to talk about how to trade the news. Go to our stock charts trading page and subscribe so you'll get other updates of other news articles like this that will show you what is the possibility of the opportunity of taking a trade on this news. Or go to our TikTok page and you will see stock charts. We have hundreds of videos on trading. Now, if you wanted to, you could go by industry and do a search on materials, especially metals and mining, and pick up in particularly about steel. Or you can use XME, which is an ETF, and it has a lot of these companies in there. As an example, we're going to be using this for a trading strategy. First thing I see is resistance, resistance, resistance. And right now we're coming up to that resistance. Next thing I see is support, support, support. And what are we doing? We're consolidating, we're wedging together. And usually after a consolidation like this, there's a breakout. What I'm gonna do is look at old impulse waves from bottoms to tops and see what those moves were, giving me a good indication of what a possibility breakout would be here. And so how I can measure that in anticipation of what will happen. So I drew in 5 different lines, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to click on those lines and move them over using the bottom as my starting point. There's number 2, take number 3, move it over, 4, and last but least, number 5. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 lines and I'm going to use them as a range. I'll bring that range back over to this old history data of the chart. And you can see we came into a support level here. It was a resistance level here. It was a resistance level here. And so we can see that price does something around this $50 range. Now, if we take these lower 2 and we just bring a range over to our old price movement history, we would see that here is some support. Here is some support, support. We've got some resistance right here. We've got some resistance right here and a little bit lower resistance right there. So these 2 are good ranges for the anticipation of where price might shoot up to when you get a breakout of this channel. So I'm going to use 2 targets. One is going to be 45 and the other one's going to be 50. Now, again, based on this news, we're in anticipation that there's going to be a shortage, which are going to make prices go higher because you will be willing to pay for them even at a higher price. Like lumber costs went up. People still built houses because they wanted what they wanted. And because of this, it will make XME go up in value. You could do a naked call option, March 2021. Here's where we're at right now at $25. If you go out of the money down to $35, because we're anticipating this going up in value, you could buy an option for only 12 cents. If you put in the theoretical value for March 18th, 2021, adjusted the stock price up $20, which would make that a $45 value. That would make that 12-cent option that you would buy now around $10.28. That's a big profit, people. One other point to think of this as a good trade or not, House of Destiny, Kim Clement. What does he have to say about metal? Well, there's only one prophecy that has the word metal in it. It's on July 12th, 2012. So after the 2008-2009 recession. He says, now there's a storm coming to this nation. Again, after the financial crash. There's going to be turmoil. God said, I will protect. However, it is a result of things taking place in the heavenlies. The earth is responding, but there's also a man-made weapon, a vicious weapon to manipulate and to control certain parts of the earth. It shall be exposed. There shall be deaths and there shall be loss of lives, but I shall bring it to an end abruptly. Canada, keep your sword, keep your shield in front of you. Do not let it down, for they are focusing on you. Even in winter, pay attention. This is what Dana was saying. People will say, what has happened to the Gulf of Mexico? Wisconsin, Las Vegas, Colorado. I don't think these things have happened yet. Keep an eye out. Winter's coming. The fire has come, but this is just the beginning. No, do not say it's judgment. For God says this is the earth that is responding, but I will destroy those who've eyed the nations that I've put my hands on. I will take them down as I've promised. Now the time is coming. Pray that I may take away this mass destruction that is planned, says the Lord. What I sensed was danger. I saw the following things. Woods, not wood, woods, sense of fire, metal being melted. This is where the word metal is. A great hailstone and the smell of the earth after being ravaged by floods. And how many hurricanes have we had hit the Gulf Coast? And how many fires have we had in California? I don't know of any articles that I've read about the great hailstorm, but if hail hits metal roofs and buildings, it would destroy that, which would drive up the need to get that fixed, which is supply and demand. He ends the prophecy with, of course, the greatest is about the future of America and who is going to be our president and the leader of this nation. I just thought it was interesting that the only place Kim Clement had the word metal was referring to a lot of the situations that we're seeing going on in America right now. with the end result of who is going to be our president. I think this is a good time to invest in XME. Look it over, look at some of our videos and see what you think. Like and follow. Remember to subscribe so that way you can get more videos like this on updates. Until next time.